Hello everyone! I wanted to share with you today two Gothic palaces located in both France and Italy. The first palace is the Palace Jacques-Cœur in Bourges, France. The Palace Jacques-Cœur was built during the 15th century. Jacques-Cœur was a rich merchant who married the granddaughter of a master of the coins. This marriage allowed him to be introduced to the court of Charles VII, propelling his rise to importance in society with several important posts. These posts eventually led to Jacques being named a silversmith of the king, which meant he was in charge of managing the king's finances. In 1441, Jacques-Cœur was granted ennoblement as a reward for his service to the kingdom. Unfortunately, Jacques-Cœur would be arrested in 1451 for the murder of the king's mistress. After being entitled, Jacques-Cœur took the scalloped shell and the heart as his emblem, with the motto, "To a valiant heart, nothing is impossible." Once the palace was built, the motto and the symbols were repeatedly displayed throughout the palace to symbolize the master of the home. Being a nobleman, Jacques-Cœur had a house built to match his new rank, a house that was called Beautiful, Great, and Magnificent. This great home consisted of 8 staircases, 43 rooms. Construction began in 1443 and was completed in 1454. But Jacques-Cœur was arrested in 1451, so he could not enjoy it. The palace was confiscated from Jacques-Cœur after his arrest, and Jacques-Cœur was eventually forced into exile in Greece after escaping prison, where he later died in 1456. Even though Jacques-Cœur was never able to enjoy his home, the footprint of his design was visible throughout the property. On the facade of the building, Jacques-Cœur is represented with his wife. It is assumed that initially both of them were facing the cornice that was supposed to house a sculpture of Charles VII to show that they were close to the king. After Jacques-Cœur's disgrace, the statue of the king disappeared, and the couple's portraits were changed to turn their backs on the king. When you enter the building, you are immediately confronted by a large courtyard surrounded by imposing buildings that comprise the palace. This monument was unique in France for its time and marks a turning point in the history of architecture, taking up the characteristics of a medieval castle. Numerous windows pierced the building, letting in natural light, which was useful for the time. Galleries run around the courtyard, linking it to the Capitol over the main doorway. The facade is decorated with a multitude of sculptures portraying religious themes, Jacques-Cœur's travels, or scenes of everyday life. Tympanum reliefs placed over the doorways show different carvings. One shows a carving of Saint Michael holding a vase of fleur-de-lis, symbolizing purity and the cycle of life. The other tympanum over the chapel shows a relief of a mass and might have some symbols referring to alchemy. Inside the palace, there is no lack of wealth and comfort. Different parts of the building are linked by a system of spiral staircases, passages, and galleries. The stonework of the spiral staircase is just one of the architectural highlights inside. There is a feast room to accommodate musicians, and a kitchen attached to a wine cellar. The reception rooms and private apartments have richly decorated fireplaces. Intricately carved fireplaces display carved figures. Stained glass windows represent a gallery of a merchant ship, and the carpentry work on the ceiling is based on the hull of an upturned boat. Unfortunately, almost all the interior paintings have now disappeared besides the chapel. The chapel is the only room that has its original ceiling, making it one of the most majestic rooms of the house. Even though some of the art has been removed, there is still decorative richness to the house. The second palace I will be discussing is the Cathedrals in Venice, Italy. A jewel of Gothic palace architecture on the Grand Canal. The Cathedrals is a 15th century palace built by Marino Contarini. This beautiful building is located in Venice, Italy, and is a good example of architectural changes from the Gothic to the Renaissance style. Marble traceries on the first and second floors, parapets on windows, and balconies show elements of late Gothic period. However, the colonnade that faces the canal and the small square windows on the right wing show Renaissance forms. The cornice and cresting are graceful and delicate, which showcase local Venetian taste. The palace is incomplete. The Cathedrals overlooks the Grand Canal and gets its name from the original facade that was covered in some parts with a golden edge. Unfortunately, this golden facade has been lost over time. Even still, this building is considered one of the best examples of Venetian Gothic. The building was covered in a variety of white and colored marbles, with one of the most elaborate facades in Venice. Venetians would be staggered by the extravagance of this color decoration, as well as the gilding on the window traceries and carvings. The facade is one of the most splendid of all Gothic palaces in Venice. Only a right wing exists, but was intended to be an asymmetrical building. 6 tracery arches and no pending capitals in the single windows make up the facade. The balcony showcases remarkable details. Besides the window solution, other decoration elements of the facade only occur at Cathedrals. There is a double corner framing and a coat of arms. The courtyard is one of the most precious examples of a wellhead, an essential element of a Gothic palace. The courtyard can be accessed from the ground floor entrance hall. The space is exquisite with Moorish influences. The floors are covered in mosaic tile, and aged Corinthian columns stand guard over the room. Since its original construction, restoration has been done to the stairway and the balconies. When the property was owned by a dancer, she removed the Gothic stairway and balconies in the courtyard. The building is also compiled of a rich art collection from another previous owner, which can now be admired in the museum. Thank you all for watching. In conclusion, both the Cathedrals and the Palace Jacques-Cœur demonstrate magnificent displays of Gothic architecture. These are seen through the great lengths each building's designer took to showcase the attention to detail in its construction. These details would be demonstrations of the owner's opulence and wealth.